Okay, well, good Tuesday afternoon, New York Jet fans and NFL fans. It is January 28th, 2025, 12:24 p.m. You're watching The Takeoff. My name is Alex. Had some time during my lunch break, so I wanted to put together a quick video on yesterday's introductory press conference. Our new GM, Darren Malgi, I think they pronounce it, and, of course, our new head coach, Aaron Glenn, or they call him now AG. So let's get started. Woody Johnson addressed the media and all who were in attendance yesterday, introducing the new GM and Aaron Glenn. He did, refer to his brother Christopher Johnson and said he was part of the interviews. He stated that every interview took about 3 hours, um, and that each applicant that they had were qualified, some more than others, but he liked Aaron Glenn. Um, And he also afterwards went into how he needs to be a better owner. And this could be from the backlash that he received from the moves that he made during the season. Robert Saleh was fired. You didn't hear from Joe Douglas. Joe Douglas was then fired 6 weeks prior to his contract ending. Hassan Reddick then came in. You had the Jerry Judy not being picked up by the team because his Madden ratings were low, and that's from Woody Johnson's son. So a lot of this, I think, was something he wanted to just address briefly, and he just used "I need to be a better owner" to say, "Hey, I know what you heard. I know what was tweeted. I know what was out in the news. I know what was printed in the newspaper. Listen, it's going to be better ownership." The new hierarchy, or I should say, the reporting structure would be that GM and head coach are on the same level. They will report up to ownership, which is Woody Johnson and Christopher Johnson. Prior to that, it used to be Joe Douglas, the GM, reporting up to Christopher Johnson and Woody Johnson, and the head coach, Robert Saleh or Ulbrich, reporting up to Joe Douglas. So right now, the GM and head coach are on the same level. They introduced Darren Malgi. He is the third youngest GM in the NFL. He is 39 years old. He came from Denver. He spoke about um, making it a group effort, um, making it successful for this team, not just now, but in the future. They're more than just trying to win now. They want to make it sustainable. And Aaron Glenn spoke about sustainable success as well. And he thanked his wife and his children. Um, and then he gave a short story about Aaron Glenn. And he said that he met Aaron or interviewed Aaron about 3 years ago in Denver when he was with Denver. And he said Aaron gave a great interview. And he said that the interview process ended with, if you were hired, what would your first day message be to your team? And he said a lot of the um, applicants all said something like their philosophy and what the team's mentality would be. And he said Aaron Glenn. The first thing he said was, "Could I give my first day speech?" And they said, "Of course." And he said Aaron Glenn took hold of that interview and gave this passionate, intense message. And he said he knew that he was going to be a successful head coach one day. And they didn't go with him. And I think they actually, I'm not sure if they hired Nathaniel Hackett that year or they went with Sean Payton. I forgot which one they had that hired, but thankfully we got Aaron Glenn out of that. Um, then Aaron Glenn was introduced, and he thanked his mom, and he said he lost his father at a young age. He thanked his high school coach. He thanked Bill Parcells. He thanked his children, and he said, thank you to his wife. And he said, she's the rock, and she is the reason why he's back in football. He said a few years back he was, I believe, he was doing restaurant work, setting up restaurants in Texas, um, and he was sitting watching a game on TV, and he said I was just yelling at the TV, cursing at the TV. Because my wife came in and said, "You need to get back into football." He said, I just wanted that push, that okay, that nod from her. And he said he called Bill Parcells, and Bill Parcells said, all right, go be a scout. He goes, no, Bill, I want to be a coach. And he goes, you're going to be a head coach one day. Go be a scout. Work your way up. And that's what he did. Became a scout. He was a scout for the Jets. I believe he was a scout for the Texans. He worked for the Cleveland Browns. He was in, I believe he was on Denver's. I'm sorry, he was not on the Denver's team. He was on the Saints with Sean Payton. And then, of course, he was the defensive coordinator, I'm sorry, with the Detroit Lions. He also thanked, the offensive coordinator and head coach of the Detroit Lions. He said that, they took a franchise that was not successful for many years and brought it back to where it is now. He says he thanks Bill Parcells for teaching him. He talks to Al Groh like once a week. They look at game film. And he says he keeps in contact with some other, people that he went up the ranks with. He also mentioned, I forgot this, his brother played for the Jets as well. I believe it was his younger brother played for the Jets. He is one of 11 children. He then spoke about. Um, commitment, that he wanted to coach, but he wanted to be here. Um, he told everybody the Jets head coaching job is what I want to be. And what I liked, and I have to say, I've sat through many first press conferences. He said a few things that stood out. The first thing he stood out was when I came in for my second interview. He goes, it was my second interview. He goes, I did not want to leave the building without having a handshake deal with Mr. Johnson, with Woody. So listen, I heard this on the radio yesterday, and it resonates now. It resonates now, I should say. When he was open to be hired by a team, many teams sought after him. He wanted to be here. He could have picked any other team, and I actually think he denied going to the Patriots for an interview. Which I think is going to be fun now with Vrabel and Aaron, in the same division. Then he spoke about the state of the team and the philosophy of the team, and he said that he's going to discuss with Darren, who they want to recruit, who they want to retain, who may not be here, free agents, the draft, and whatnot. He said everybody will be held accountable. They will be looking at film and plays from all season, and they will assess what needs to be done. Before he could take any questions, and the elephant in the room was mentioned, he addressed it. He goes, I believe he was hired Wednesday. Darren Melgy was hired on Saturday. He said Sunday they were together. I believe they were in Florham Park. He says, and we communicated the text to Aaron Rodgers. So he didn't say what was said there. He didn't say what his philosophy is or what his plans are with Aaron Rodgers. But he said he communicated out to Aaron Rodgers. Now it's up to Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers communicated back. But now it's between the both of them to, or the coaching staff and the GM and the team and the organization and Aaron to communicate. Somebody said on one of the NFL shows, by the Super Bowl, Aaron Rodgers needs to let the Jets know, hey, I'm coming back, I'm not coming back, for a few reasons. First reason is if he's not coming back, you have the combine coming up, you have free agency coming up, you have the draft coming up. If he is coming back, same thing. If the Jets are going to release him, they then look for free agency or look for a trade. If they show their hand and show that they don't have Aaron Rodgers as a quarterback, it goes up to a king's ransom with a trade. So Aaron Rodgers letting them know what's going on with his future with the team, which will probably be a 1-year thing with the team, is where the next step should be. He was then asked by a reporter afterwards about Aaron Rodgers, and he said, this is not about one player. The team is not about Aaron Rodgers. Which, if you look back at the Hard Knocks and everything, it was always about Aaron Rodgers. It was Aaron Rodgers on Pat McAfee. It was Aaron Rodgers coming to the Jets. It was Aaron Rodgers in the Hard Knocks, where Robert Saleh and all of them are just gawking at the way he's throwing the ball. It was Aaron Rodgers getting hurt that kind of canceled out that season, gave them no hope. So it's no more about Aaron Rodgers, and I like that. He said about the players that are on the team now, current players, organization, put your seatbelts on. It's going to be a bumpy ride. Get ready for the ride. Um, we are going to go through hard times and some bumps, but we're going to get there. Put your seatbelts on. Um, he then had a soundbite, and this will be a soundbite that goes back to, and the Jets are great for soundbites, right? I guarantee we win the game. Joe Namath came through. Okay, Herm Edwards, you play to win the game. Bill Parcells, if they're gonna let you cook the dinner, they might as well make you shop for the groceries, right? Rex Ryan, play like a Jet. I didn't come here to kiss Bill Belichick's rings or Tom Brady. You swipe one of ours, we're going to swipe two of yours. All gas, no brakes, Robert Saleh. Okay, so I always had a problem with the all gas, no brakes because if you have all gas, no brakes, eventually you get hit a brick wall. But put your seatbelts on. And then he said, we're the freaking New York Jets. We were built for this. Now, we were built for this shit, I should say. We're freaking New York Jets. We were built for this shit. Now, you could say soundbite. I believe it was a soundbite. That's going to be on memes. That's going to be on TikTok. That'll be headlines. Robert Saleh also had, receipts. Um, Two things. First of all, I think saying they're built for this meeting that the team has tough skin, and they have to. The team has not been in the playoffs again, since 2010. They have not won more than 7 games in I think 5 seasons. It's they haven't had double-digit wins since 2015. Bottom 32 defense, bottom 32 offense, whatever you want to say. Um, so yes, thick skin, passionate fans. Um, so I think that's where he says we were built for this shit. Um, we shall see. The proof is in the pudding. Okay, let's see what he does. Yesterday was day one. He had a good press conference. Rex. The first thing he said, Rex, at his first press conference when he walked out was, "Look at all the photographers here. You think you're meeting the president?" And under his breath said, "Well, we'll be getting to meet him in very soon," alluding to the fact that the Super Bowl winning team goes to Washington to meet the president. Um, he talked about sustainable winning, and he thanked Sean Payton, and he talked about being on the Saints and Sean Payton teaching about sustainable winning. Um, and he said, "This is my first head coaching job, and I want this to be my last head coaching job. I want to start here and finish here." He then went back to being a player, and in the audience was some Jet alumni, some that played with him, some that didn't. In the audience, I believe was Glenn Foley, Wayne Krebet, Fred Baxter. Um, I forgot who else was there. Marty Lyons was there, and he's talking about how we went from 1-15 to 9-7 to a playoff win against Jacksonville. Then he goes to the AFC Championship game in Denver, and he says we were up 10-0, third quarter. He goes, they kick off, and he looks and he goes, "Wayne, you remember this?" And the ball gets hung up in a very windy day. He goes, and Denver recovers it, and they score 2 touchdowns, and we lose. He goes, and you think I want to let that go? Unfinished business. I want to finish that. So for that to still hurt him, you know, really, really stands out to me because he was in the NFC Championship game last year with the Lions. He was in the divisional round this year with the Lions. So to think back to that as a player really sticks out to me. Now, you can't tell me that he wants to be more successful than another coach because he just played for the team. But he has roots here. I liked Rex coming here, Buddy Ryan's son. He had roots here. Um, Aaron has, been in Florham Park. He was in Hempstead. Uh, as a player, as a scout, he was part of the team. I really believe he's happy to be here. Again, and I hate keep comparing him to Rex, but Rex loved being a Jet. I still love being a Jet. He thinks he's very disappointed that he wasn't hired, and he expressed that a little bit on ESPN yesterday. But I think Aaron Glenn has the enthusiasm and energy. So, of course, after, listening to that, I'm leaving home, leaving work, and I put on the radio, and they're talking about it, and they're saying, well, you can win the press conference, and you can win the offseason, but you have to play the game on the field, which is true. How many times we picked up that big free agent? How many times we picked up that star quarterback? And somebody said, I forgot who it was on ESPN, him speaking reminded me a lot of Mike Tomlin from the Steelers. His mannerisms, his energy, the way he spoke. And that speaks volumes. Mike Tomlin is a very good coach. He's never had a losing season, and he's been sustainable in the Steelers organization. And that is something that the Jets have never had. The Steelers have had 3 head coaches in their entire history. Okay? The Jets have had 3 head coaches in like the last 6 years. You go Bowles, Saleh, Ulbrich, if you want to call them, and Aaron Glenn. So, there was a point where it was Coslet, Carroll, Kotite, Parcells in a span of 4 years, 5 years. So sustainability. He spoke about it. He preached it. I think he's going to have players wanting to play for him, a la Rex, a la Herm, even a la Salah at one point. People thought that Parcells was very hard, but they showed success. He falls under the Parcells tree. The fact that he still talks to Bill Parcells, and he talks to Al Groh every week, is to me a positive in what he wants to do. So, listen, I sent a quick video. It's about 17 and a half minutes long. I think this is a great first press conference. I look forward to hearing about who he assembles on his coaching staff, and the direction of where we're going if Aaron Rodgers comes back, who we're keeping, who we're letting go. I think they said there's 80 days to the draft, and I have to say I was very happy with the press conference. I cannot imagine what the fanfare will be on opening night, and I guess depending on if Aaron Rodgers is back on the team or who they draft or who they pick up in free agency, with the schedule, if they get those 5 prime times, if they get a Thursday night home opener, a Monday night season opener again, but we'll see. Thank you for watching The Takeoff. My name is Alex. Stay tuned. As news is breaking, we'll tweet it. Follow us on Twitter at The Jets Takeoff is our Twitter handle. Subscribe to this video. YouTube. The Takeoff is the YouTube account. The Jets Takeoff is a YouTube channel. Email us, thejets@gmail.com. Subscribe to YouTube. Give us, any thoughts, any feedback, any comments. We have thick skin. We'll take it. We're Jet fans. Have a great rest of your week. Have a safe week. Have a healthy week. Have a blessed week, however you say it. Be healthy, be safe, and we'll talk soon.